Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for our Passion series. Today we're here with Allyson Raskin, who is with Young Living, an essential oils company, and we're gonna hear a lot about what Allie is passionate about today. Hi Allie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm thrilled to be with you because I just think you're just hung the moon.
Well, I think you're the most passionate person I know. And so I am so excited to kind of up the ante with you a little bit here because I know you can handle it. Talk to me about the passion behind your business and what drives you in this business.
Absolutely. So this was definitely an unintentional business for me. It was not something that I thought I would ever do, first of all, which I think maybe is the secret to finding something you're passionate at, is that you end up doing something accidentally that you are just fallen in love with. And for me, it was, I had a very sick baby who really changed the way that I looked at life and the world and what we did in our homes. And we had some drastic situations and some drastic success, and I became wholeheartedly obsessed with helping others with their families' situations.
Wow. I mean, that when something hits you personally and you are searching for an answer, you're searching for a solution, what was that like? That must have been really terrifying.
Absolutely. I mean, I really was in a state of desperation at the time. I was given some answers by Western medicine of what was wrong with my child, but the solution, really, there was no solution. It was Band-Aids that had side effects, and nothing was really helping him. So it really felt like, I was put on this earth to be my children's mother for a reason. No one is going to take care of them like I'm going to. No doctor that sees my kids for 20 minutes is going to be able to take care of my children like I can. And I needed to get to the root of why my son was ill and really work on fixing the root cause instead of sticking a bunch of Band-Aids on him.
So talk to us about how you found essential oils and how that became your platform.
Okay, so it started for me with pulling toxins out of our home and giving our bodies the nutrients they needed, especially my son's, to recover from what he was dealing with. So I was at the time working full-time in a very an executive type position. I was traveling the world. I was seeing clients all over the place, but I was a mother first and foremost, and I wanted to be a mother since I was a child. So even though I had my children a little later, and even though I was in the midst of the peak of my career when I had them, they were still my priority. And so I started taking vacation time and traveling to holistic nutrition conferences and really studying how food and natural health truly can impact our bodies. And it was at a nutrition conference that I was traveling with a friend of mine from college, and she was mentioning to me that she had just started using these therapeutic essential oils. And I had never had any what I call aha moments with essential oils before, because I had been just buying the things at the grocery store, right, or the health food store, I should say. And I didn't have any amazing experiences. At the time, I did not realize that they were really just for smell. I didn't realize that they really weren't distilled for therapeutic benefit. So when she told me about therapeutic oils and how they can be very different than what I had been using before, there's only so much you can do with food. At some point, you're gonna have a situation where you're gonna need something that's a little, I didn't wanna have a side effect, right? And so I wanted a medicinal solution for my family, and we saw crazy results really fast. Things that people just wouldn't believe if you told them.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because you've told me some amazing results that you've seen with essential oils. Can you give the audience a little bit, just a little taste of some of the effects that you've seen?
Absolutely. So first off, there's a lot of things I'd love to share with you on camera that I can't because of compliance reasons, because plants are not considered drugs. So we can't talk to them about openly about their medicinal uses. I would highly recommend that you do your own research on plants as medicine. For people in the medical industry, PubMed.gov and NIH.gov have tons. Last I checked, about 70,000 peer-reviewed scientific articles about plants for medicinal purposes. That being said, some of the things I can tell you is in our very first experiences with essential oils, as I just started using them, my kids were in preschool. And we all know that preschools are like petri dishes, right? Your kids are just like breeding grounds for bacteria and viruses, right? So there was one period of time where strep throat was going through the classroom. And of 12 children in the classroom, our one child was the only kid who was well. So I was using oils to support their bodies and their immune system to stay well. And I don't think it's coincidence because before we started using oils, my kids were susceptible to all of the things that all the other kids were getting. And in fact, that's something that my friends say to me often is, you just don't ever seem like you get sick. And what I would say is we are certainly exposed to the same bacteria and viruses as everyone else. We just support our bodies very, very well. And the minute that we feel like we're getting becoming under the weather, we get on it a little harder just to make sure that our immune systems stay well.
A little extra bump.
A little extra bump.
So, obviously, like anything else and anything else that we discover in life, there are people that don't believe, the nonbelievers, the naysayers, as you will. What would you say to them?
One of the things that I really like to explain is that plants have been medicine for thousands of years. Even before biblical times, but certainly in biblical times, there was frankincense found in King Tut's tomb that he was buried with. There are oils mentioned throughout the Torah, throughout the Bible, hundreds and hundreds of times. So this is not new. They were mentioned then for medicinal purposes. But what I'd also like for people to understand is really how our medical system has changed over the years. So in the early 1900s, that's when patent law was developed, which meant that you could make a drug your own that no one else could sell as their own.
Okay.
So originally, a key part of patent law is that you cannot patent nature. You can't take a plant, put it in a capsule, and call it a drug.
Okay.
Because that is given by nature. So in early days, what they would do is they would just combine two plants together, put it in a capsule, and then they could patent it as their own legally, no problem, right? And then what they realized as technology developed is that they could take a petrochemical under a microscope and they could look at a chemical constituent of a plant under a microscope and they could duplicate it, replicate it in a synthetic format. And so what they were doing was literally taking what nature gave us and making a synthetic version of it, which is that's exactly what's still done today. But what happens is our body doesn't know what to do with a synthetic chemical. And that's why if you watch the commercials, you see 2/3 of the commercial is all the bad things that can happen to you because our body doesn't know what to do with those synthetics. I would also argue that nature doesn't give us one chemical constituent in a plant. Every single plant has at least 100 chemical constituents and they work together synergistically. We don't know how, we don't know why, but they need all of the chemical constituents that nature gave us. So when you isolate one chemical constituent, it just doesn't work the same.
You are a wealth of knowledge and you never cease to amaze me. I mean, that's amazing. And even as you're saying that, I'm thinking to myself, same goes for the food we're eating. I mean, we're just so used to it, Allie. It's like we just don't recognize it, but we're just so used to the way things are. You're right. It's not that this is old knowledge. We just forgot.
Right. That's exactly right.
Good answer. Talk to us about what we're living amongst. Like, what are the chemicals and what are we finding in our homes and stuff like that are causing the problems to be maybe the root of the problem? I shouldn't say it. No.
Yes, I mean, everything has changed in our world since the chemical industry changed, right? The chemical industry made it less expensive for companies to sell products. And here's a staggering statistic for you. The average American woman puts 130 unique toxic chemicals on her body before she has breakfast. I want you to just think about that for a second.
Lord, what did I put on
right,
today?
Exactly. And even the way that our chemical industry the laws have not changed, the regulation has not changed in almost 100 years now, and what is allowed in our bodies and what is allowed in our products. It's very, very, very scary. The word fragrance in the United States can have up to 300 chemicals in that one word that don't have to be listed out. The most common is formaldehyde. It's a known carcinogen. We use it to embalm bodies. It's in pretty much anything that has the word fragrance because it preserves the smell. So it's fine, like, you know, what the chemical companies will say was, well, we test this. Sure, you test this in one product at a time. You don't test for what's called bioaccumulation, is the constant repetitive exposure that literally binds to our cells. So we have petrochemicals that literally bind to the outside of our cells and has a huge impact on our body. Like a little, okay, a little, but the problem is it's a little all the time, consistently. Right, so it's very scary. So things that we clean our homes with, that we don't need chemicals to clean our homes. We don't. Like, scientifically proven, there are things that clean better than the chemicals. And plant-based products work really well because they digest bacteria and viruses instead of putting toxins in our home. The laundry soap, the dryer sheets, the things that we wear. I mean, you think about that. You wear that on your body all day long. You clean your dish soap. Your dish soap is one of your most toxic things. It's formaldehyde. And almost the most common dish soaps on the market, you're cleaning your plates with formaldehyde and then your children are eating off of them. Yes. So these are the things I'm very passionate about, is like I wholeheartedly believe that you cannot use an oil and fix everything in your life. You've got to take the toxins out. You can't eat McDonald's for every meal and expect to be healthy if you just use an oil. That's not going to work. It's really, it's a lifestyle change. And it's so easy now to make lifestyle changes. I would argue you're replacing like for like, and it's less expensive to be toxin free. The products are less expensive, many of which you can DIY and make on your own.
Yeah. So it just has to matter to you enough. Something has to make you see the light, and then it's not, you're right, it's not so hard. I think of, like, you know, in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where you just like
spray some Windex on it.
Just put some Windex on it, you know. But that's what I think about, you know, and it's true. We just, you know, Windex everything.
My husband always say, why does Windex have to be blue? Like, blue is a cancer-causing agent. The blue, yes, that color, that dye causes cancer. So why does the Windex need to be blue to clean it? Yeah, I mean, it makes you really think.
For sure.
We don't need it. I think as mothers, especially, we are really good about taking care of everyone in our home, our spouse, our children, our home. But at some point, we know this and we tell our friends, you must take care of yourself in order to take care of others in your life. And for me, my personal health journey was when I was pregnant with that sick baby, my second baby. I started to have thyroid issues, very severe thyroid issues, where it was impacting every moment of my life, where I could not sleep, but I couldn't stay awake, and I was exhausted, and I was having all these crazy symptoms. And I literally called my physician one day, my OB, and said, I'm coming in today, and I want you to run whatever tests you need to run, because I know something is wrong with my body, which that was what was wrong. It was my thyroid. And later I was diagnosed with the autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's, which means that you will have this for the rest of your life. It's a marker that they can test for. And so my physician, who is more holistic, she's fantastic, said to me, I'm so sorry, I tested for the antibody, you have it, you're gonna have this for the rest of your life. Well, then I started using oils, and I thought, well, I'll just see, is there something that could help me? I mean, novel thought to help myself, right?
Imagine that.
Imagine that. So I started using oils and supplements by Young Living, and I was very fortunate that at the time it was not a blessing, but after I had my baby, I had hyper and hypo depending on the day. So my thyroid was going like this because my hormones were going like this after I had a baby. So I knew exactly how my body felt based on what was going on. I knew the symptoms that I had when my body was hyper versus hypo. So I was obviously very into natural health then with my son not being well. And so I was using nutrition. I was studying, how do I use nutrition to support my thyroid? How do I change my exercise routine to help my thyroid? But I still was taking a medication because my body couldn't do it all alone. So when I started using oils and supplements, I was able to get off of my medication And I was able to see how I felt, and I really worked with my body to decide, what was the right amount for me, how much did I need, and I went back to my physician after 6 months of being off of my medication, and I said, will you test me? Will you work with me?
Wow.
I know that this isn't something that's like, maybe you don't. I was so nervous. I was so nervous to take my own health into my own hands.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why are we so nervous to treat ourselves?
Because you hadn't seen the results yet. And I think,
But I knew that I felt better. The first day,
right.
I knew that I felt better than I ever had on the medication.
Okay.
My physician, my doctor, did my blood work, and she said to me, your blood work has never been this good. I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And she has said over the years, I've seen her this has been since my son was a year old. So this has been for the last 8 years. She says, your blood work continues to get better with age. I don't see this in my clients, right? Whose blood work improves over time? So I have had hair analysis done, I have had thermography done, and I have had blood work done, and they cannot find anything wrong with my thyroid now. And I was told that I was going to have this for the rest of my life.
Sentence.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If I'm going to say this too, and I've known you for a long time, but you look like the picture of health. It actually radiates from your hair, from your skin, in your eyes. So the passion you have is really, it's not an exterior passion. I mean, I would never have known. You've never told me that. I did not know. I would never have known, but you honestly resemble the picture of health. Whatever you're doing from a friend's perspective, you're beautiful to begin with, but it just exudes, it pours out of you.
Definitely when you take care of your insides, it shows on the outside, right?
Yeah.
With everyone.
It makes for a happy person. And
Absolutely.
happiness exudes. How has it changed your life? What do you think the significance is there?
Well, certainly our family's health. I mean, first and foremost, my daughter actually said to me a few months ago, Mom, I can't remember the last time I was sick. All the kids are falling at school, and that's a blessing. Certainly I've told you my personal health journey, and my son he's such a healthy kid after coming through what he did as a baby. So our health, for sure. And then I was able to leave my corporate career, which is kind of huge. I get to pick my kids up from school every day. My nanny is no longer raising my children. I raise my children. I don't have to miss any school functions. I can travel when and where I want. I can work from anywhere. Right. And I get to help people for a living. That is the most, I get chills when I talk about it. That on a daily basis, I will get text messages that say, you will not believe this, but this happened to me. And my answer is, I'm sure I will believe it, but let me know. Tell me what happened, because it's the most fulfilling thing ever.
I believe that we are here to leave the world better than we found it. And we're here to impact the world. That's certainly my goal. That's my goal in this. Why am I doing these videos? I feel like it's a little glimpse of impact in the world because there's great people and they deserve their stories to be told, right? But this is gotta be amazing. When you feel and I walked in here, by the way, and she saw my little bags that aren't so little under my eyes. And within a few minutes, my bags they're not gone because they're never gonna be, but they're better, and I have no congestion in my nose anymore. So I feel better. But it's gotta be so amazing. Corporate America is amazing because you're climbing that ladder. But the personal satisfaction isn't there the same way.
No, it's really not. And this was really a force of a higher power, as I like to say, because when I was in the crux of this situation where I was authentically just telling my friends about things, and I was getting these paychecks that I did not expect to be getting from this company, and then I went on a trip to Israel with 40 women with my backpack apothecary of oils, right? And I had 40 women saying to me, why are you in corporate America? This is your gift. This is your gift. You want to help people be well. Why are you not doing this as your gig? Why is this not your job? Why isn't this, it's never felt like a job to me ever, so it's hard to say, but I knew that I had to take a step away from what I was trained to believe was the right thing to do in my career, was make as much money as possible, be in corporate America, succeed as one of the few women, right? I was in a 100% male world.
And she was rocking it.
I know,
really, you were highly successful. I mean, you know, it's not just that you weren't playing.
No, I was not playing. Yeah. No, it was, I mean, it paid for our home. You know, this was, it was a real career, right? But it did not bring me joy. And I have more joy in my life than I actually know what to do with. I feel sometimes that my heart will explode because I love my life so much. I get to choose what I do every day. I get to help people every day with their health. I get to help a friend into something simple. And I mean, it's just how is this higher power so good that someone could have all of these things and get to help people all day?
Most amazing thing I've ever heard. Really. Amazing.
It really is.
And I wish that on you for the rest of your life.
And I wish that for everyone I meet.
Okay, I'm crying. So I strongly believe there's going to be a lot of people that want to reach out to you for many different reasons. How can they find you? Can you look into the camera and let them know where they can find you?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook under my name, which I'm sure they will provide for you here. You can find me on Instagram, essentially Ally is my handle. You can find me on YouTube, again, essentially Ally on YouTube. I have a website, essentiallyally.com. I'm pretty consistent.
Consistency is king. That you learned from your long career, I bet.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being here. Listen, if you have the slightest interest in figuring some of this out, if you've thought about oils, even if you hadn't, Ally is the most knowledgeable person that I can introduce you to when it comes to holistic health. Obviously, you've seen it. She knows her stuff. I strongly urge you to reach out to her. She's a great person to boot, so that is helpful as well. And I think what's nice about you is you go to the root of that person. When I walked in here, it was like, oh, tell me about, so it's not a one size fits all. It's totally about each individual. And you do a great job with that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
It is
so
really
much.
my pleasure. I've loved it.
Great.
Thank you.
See you next time.